Hey everybody, welcome. It's been some time and I've been away. Here I am in Georgia. This is Super Bowl week and I want to thank everybody for keeping in touch and explain that the matters of personal nature took over. And what's that, Jack Nicholson? There was some movie that says something's got to give. Well, something had to give. But let's see here. Try that again. Hey everybody, we're live. We're live. Hey everybody, we're live. At any rate, nice to see that. As I was saying, nice to see as everybody's here and alive and kicking. Right? Is that alive and kicking? Alive and kicking. Right. This I have to say this, but because it's a live stream, this YouTube thing is really Judah. Okay. Hey Rob Iman, how you doing? And hey everybody, how are you? And are you getting the notifications? Because I understand there's been some weird juju going here. Hey Marcus, how you doing? I'm happy to see you here, at least your words, among other things. I'm glad everybody is, you get the notifications? Awesome, awesome, fantastic. So as I was saying, first of all, I want to start off by thanking Richard Hike for making not one but two live streams over the weekend. One from the Oakland A's Fan Fest. I'm glad you get the notifications, Rob Iman. Thanks. And the other on Sunday from the Kamala Harris event, where he gave the outside man trying to get in point of view. And Richard's really come along. He really gets the Zenny 62 style of video blogging, holding the camera horizontal, the smartphone horizontal, and talking to us and telling you what you see. And then talking to other people. He gets that. Hey, John Akala. Yeah, Harris 2020, Kamala Harris. I'm going to do another live stream on that one too. Now, I'm going to get right to the gritty nitty, as they say, or the nitty gritty. And the nitty gritty is basically this. Hey, look, about, and this was on Twitter, that this battle royale played out, if you will. My friend, Rick Velotta of the Las Vegas Review-Journal made the mistake of deciding that he was going to challenge me. And one thing that I learned in the little bit of time that I spent studying to attend law school, studying the LSAT, applying to law schools, and then prior to that working with a number of great attorneys with the city of Oakland and other places, is this: you try never to ask a question you don't know the answer to, right? And the question in this instance was, when is the Oakland Raiders Las Vegas Stadium going to open? And you always hear what's 2020, 2020. And the assumption is it was going to be ready for an entire NFL season 2020, right? No. Well, Rick decided, for some particular reason, he can't get it through his mind, the good reporter of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And I think part of this is because of who he writes for, that I have an expertise that he doesn't have. Now, conversely, he has a certain expertise that I don't have. Fine. But my point is, regarding stadiums and the events with respect to the NFL, I have an experience he doesn't have because I've done that before. What I was trying to explain to him, hey, Jamal Mills, how you doing? What I was trying to explain to him is that, thumbs up everybody for those of you who are here. What I was trying to explain to him is simply this, that there are two time frames. I'll get to that in a second, Rob. Rob is talking about the Inglewood Stadium, which I think is very exciting. There are two time frames that we have to talk about. One is the stadium construction period, okay? The other, all right, the other time frame is the move-in date. So let me put it this way. If you are building a home, then I think it stands to reason you're not going to try to move into the home as it's being built, okay? You're going to wait until the contractor says, hey, it's ready for occupancy, right? That's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. You're going to say, this is ready for occupancy, and you're going to wait, and then you're going to go in, and you're excited and everything, and I get that. but it's not safe. It's not safe at all. It is not safe for you or anybody else. Okay, so you're not going to do that. All right, you're not going to move into a place knowing full well that something could fall on you and get hurt. A good contractor wouldn't allow you to do that. So you have the place where, in terms of time frames, you've got the place where it's under construction, okay? And you have the other where you get to move in, right? So Rick was absolutely certain. It's like, oh, Zinni's wrong again. Zinni's wrong again. Zinni's wrong again. We had this conversation. We had this battle before. Last year in January, I was trying to explain to him that the guaranteed maximum price for the stadium was $1.68 billion. Oh, he said I was wrong. Then this other fellow that worked for the Las Vegas Sun said I was wrong. I said, no, it's right here in the contract. It says it says guaranteed maximum price. Boom. They said I was wrong. Everybody else is, oh, Zinni was wrong just because Zinni's wrong. Why? Well, he's wrong. So here comes Don Webb, head of construction for the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium, for the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, and for the Oakland Raiders. And he says on camera, the guaranteed maximum price is what I said it was. Boom. And so Rick didn't say, I'm sorry, you were right. He said, okay, well, it's this. But it wasn't like, hey, Zinni is right. They have a real hard time admitting that I'm right about anything. It's really weird, okay? Now, if I say, hey, it's because I'm black, they get upset. But I don't really know them, that well, so how do I know, right? In other words, it's kind of weird, like, oh, let's just say that he's wrong, but I keep piling up these examples where I'm right, all right? And my point is this. It's not being right that's important. It's understanding why you're right, all right? And then it's moving forward to say, okay, now that we know this, how did we get there? In other words, in this case, why is the stadium opening October 31st, really, of 2020 and not for the full NFL season? And it's because there are clear problems in materials delivery and also in revenue with respect to construction the Raiders have faced. You cannot, look at, first of all, the Raiders are supposed to get $750 million in subsidy, right, to build it. First of all, and you can see this right there on the documents, it says $743 million that it got from the stadium bond, and I think a total $762 million from other sources. But they didn't get $750 million from the bond issue itself. They got roughly, well, I would say about $7 million short. That's $7 million that has to be made up someplace else. I don't care if it's $762 million. My point is they didn't get $750 million. All right? Period. Now, there's the money that they were supposed to get. That $750 million, part of that is really supposed to be $650 million, right? Guess what? It wasn't $650 million. It was $644 million. So they were short. Okay, that's that in terms of bond proceeds. Okay? Now, in terms of the pay-go tax that they were receiving before the bond proceeds started coming in, you say, what's the difference between that? The bond proceeds are these. Let's say you get a loan, all right? You get a loan for $650 million, boom, there's your check for $650 million, okay? Prior to that, you're taking in money to pay for construction until you get your $650 million. That money that you're getting before that is supposed to be, is supposed to add up to $750 million plus. But it's short. Why? Because the amount of money that was coming from the stadium tax is less than was forecasted to be on a monthly basis. That hurts the Raiders. So, okay, it's at 760 part of the ledger, when really it's supposed to be even greater than that, maybe $800 million, because they're short. All of that means that until the Raiders can draw from the, well, even then the line of credit, but they have other costs as well, like infrastructure they have to pay for that are still outstanding. They are looking at this and saying, oh my God, we're not getting enough money. Look, folks, I'm going to tell you something. If you're playing at the edges, if you're saying, okay, we've got 644 million, we're supposed to get 650, and everything's a little bit less than, that's a big problem. You want way over that. You want your money plus contingencies. All right? You don't want to play at the margins because it means you could go south real quick like that. That's where the Raiders are. When I was at the Las Vegas Stadium Oakland Raiders party at CES, I was talking with Elliot McCabe, great guy who is their Bank of America financier, okay? And Corey, hold on a second. Let me get to that, Corey. And I said, as I'm talking to McCabe, McCabe is saying to me that Bank of America is location agnostic. In other words, they've done the same deal that they did for the Falcons Stadium that is going to host Super Bowl 53, is the same line of credit deal that they've done for the Las Vegas Stadium Authority and the Oakland Raiders. No different, which means the Raiders have to pay that money back. So here, the Raiders have to pay that money back. They're looking at a situation where the bond issue is not going to be covered at all, at any point in time, by the stadium tax money that's collected. They're going to have to draw it from the general fund, which they can do because of the general obligation bond from Clark County. And that's just the way it is. Meanwhile, what's happening as the stadium is being built, there's all this flurry of activity, people buying land and speculating and driving the price up to a point where the cost per acre for land around the Las Vegas Strip now is well over $3 million. It'll be $3.24 million. About 2 years ago, it was just south of 2 million. And then a year, yeah, it was south of 2 million. Then it went north of 2 million a year ago. And then it hit 2.26 million. Now it's over 3 million, okay? Think about that. That's over a 3-year period. If the Raiders had a tax increment financing provision in place, like the original law that gave life to the Las Vegas Stadium allowed before it was removed by the legislature, the Raiders would have been able to bank that tax increment and use it to offset any shortfalls. That was the capability. That was the original capability of the Las Vegas Stadium Authority. I pointed this out as Jan Fincelli, the Raiders attorney, came in, basically separated us. Not that we were arguing, but he got in the middle of us like, I don't want you talking to him. And I'm thinking, okay, that's, you know, Dan, I like you as a person, but I'm talking about something I think you need to hear. And so I let loose with what I just told you. And as I'm saying this to Dan, Dan is like, and Elliot goes, you're right. Folks, none of this should be a secret. There shouldn't be any secrets with this thing. If you want to do it right, you exchange information, and you make adjustments along the way. You don't say, oh, you know, that Zenny said this. Well, maybe that Zenny is right, and maybe, you know, Rob Iman's right or somebody else. Who cares? As long as you get the project right. That's what I'm trying to tell Rick Velotta. Get the project right. Get it right, all right? We're past the point of looking back and saying, you know, oh, Oakland didn't do this or whatever. That's childish. The bottom line is this. You got the thing right now, everyone's focus, who cares about it, should be on getting the stadium right. Okay? Now, and I've said this before, and I'll say this again, the lawsuit should go forward because there are matters that have to be properly discussed and worked out in court. Jim Ballernego says the Raiders don't want to hear that. Don't care. The Raiders have to change the way they do business if they want to succeed. Okay? That's just part of the life, part of the game. Now, Corey Brown asked, he says, does the law require the infrastructure projects be completed by the time his stadium is ready? I'm going to say, hey, no, it does not. Because the way, now, here's the thing. There are two types of infrastructure projects. There's infrastructure projects on the grounds, okay? In other words, such infrastructure projects as the new drainage system, which I think is a welcome addition. That was done by, and you could thank the Army Corps of Engineers for that, okay? And the parking, there should be a kind of a tray that's under it that basically collects water. That's a kind of a water collection system that flows into the channels. All right, all that should be done. Okay, and I don't know that it is, but it should be done. And I would say at this point, just eyeballing where they're going with exploding everything, that's a work in progress as well. Now, getting back to my main point, that's infrastructure within the boundaries of the property. Then there's outside. And that's where the Regional Transportation Commission comes in of Southern Nevada, which basically says, hey, you've got to redo these roads and make them such that they can handle the greater capacities that this stadium is going to produce. And there was a kind of soft deadline such that, hey, you can finish the stadium and we'll keep working on these as the stadium is open, which I think basically is kind of stupid, because when that thing opens, that area of Las Vegas, which could already get jam-packed with conventions and everything, if you add on with a Raiders event to all that, let's say you got 50,000 people for a Raiders stadium game, or 65,000, some of them from out of town, some of them from the surrounding area, on top of the standard conventions that draw in tourists. You're going to have a lot of angry tourists, all right? And, all right, a lot. And so you're going to have this jam, you're going to have you're going to have a giant traffic jam that's going to take some years to resolve. And it could result in Las Vegas losing some convention activity, all right? Which you don't want to see that happen, but I'm just simply explaining that that area down there is not currently designed to handle the traffic that it's going to see. And I'm not saying anything that the Comprehensive Planning Department of Clark County doesn't know, or anybody else. That's just a fact. I'm not saying it's not exciting. I'm not saying any of that. It's just a simple fact of the matter. So, Corey, there was nothing that said they have to actually finish those. It was desirable. I mean, the way Las Vegas works culturally is it's a great place for an entrepreneur. They really try to lessen the regulation that's placed upon you, and the county and the city work hand in glove with all the other organizations to make sure that you get what you need. That's why you'll see something like the Fontainebleau, what used to be called the Fontainebleau is now it's called the Drake Hotel, or plan, proposed, but just sat there. Hey, Richard, how you doing? Richard, thanks again, by the way. I gave you a shout out earlier. I want to thank you for your weekend vlog warrior work for Zenny62 Media. Thank you. At any rate, so Pedro asks, does this mean we're going to have the temporary home for 2 years? Yeah, that's what it means. Okay? That's what it means. It also means something else, that if you are paying a PSL, and your PSL is timed so that you're starting the 2020 season, you may be due a refund of a bit. Okay? I'm just throwing that out there right now. All right? There's a problem here, folks, and I think the Raiders need to deal with it right up front and move forward. Interestingly, when I got into my little Twitter argument with Rick Velotta, was really more him than me, okay? I put this map out there. In fact, I'll show you what I put out there, okay? Hold on a second. You can see it. This is the doc. This is the document, okay? Here's the thing, all right? This is the original one. And I added, okay, this is what was originally in this chart was 30-month construction period, stadium completion. See, this was here. Then June 2020, stadium construction is completed, all right? That was then. Now, stadium construction completion now said to be substantial by July 31st. This was originally part of the document. See that? 3-month move-in period, right? So if it's a 3-month move-in period and this changes to this, guess what? 3-month period, 3 months move-in period puts new opening day on or after October 31st, 2020. It's not August. Okay? It's that simple, folks. Simple, and I'm just using their own documents. Okay? I'm using their own documents. All right? So, okay. So that's it. It will not be ready to host a full NFL season for 2020. It's not happening. Okay? It's plainly not happening. And all you have to do, that document that I showed you, was originally presented to the Southern Nevada Tourism Infrastructure Committee, I believe it was May 5th of 2016. You can find that document online. It's in Google search. I'm happy to send you a copy of it as well. You have it here. All right? I made sure that it's all over the place. And research it for yourself. This has been an ongoing problem. And all you have to do is put on a thinking cap and say, hey, look, where are they? And because it's very important once you start looking at it coldly to say, hey, so they're selling PSLs. Do these folks know that there's this possibility that their PSLs are not going to be good for an entire 2020 season? Do they get a rebate? All right. So I think someone, Pedro asked, it says, yeah, basically this means that the Raiders are going to have to play someplace else. I think they should play at the Coliseum in Oakland for 2 years. Why? Simply because, look, they get $9 million per year from the Coliseum Authority that they're not going to get any place else unless the NFL decides, hey, look, we're in a middle of a lawsuit with you. We're going to pay your, $18 million, which is a chump change, right? For the year. You just give the Raiders that and keep walking. But my point is having said that is one thing. Whether or not they'll actually do it is something else. Okay? And even then, where are they going to go? There's still that question, too. Just because the NFL is willing to pay their game day expenses per game, and I don't know that they are, I don't know if the league is, that doesn't necessarily mean they're automatically marked anywhere, okay? So, but this does make, it is a bad-looking situation. There's no question about it. And think about how this is adding up, too. I mean, first you had the Raiders announcing, hey, we've sold out the higher-end club seats, fine. Then they've announced that basically they have lowered the upper bowl prices for PSLs. You could see that coming. We could see that coming because the spending power in Las Vegas is not greater than here in Atlanta. Okay, sorry, it just ain't. So the Raiders we're going to have to do that. You could see that coming. The casinos were going to come in and buy all the high end seats. I mean, you can see that coming too. That's happened. All right. So now, as far as Inglewood being on track for 2020, yeah. That is spectacular. And notice here's something else too that I want everybody to think about when you're considering this. When you're considering this, here's something to think about, okay? Basically, consider this. Hey, I'm going to say this because some idiot said that Velotta is the preeminent stadium expert. So if he's the preeminent stadium expert, explain why you got the guaranteed maximum price wrong, Rick. Get out of here. Boy, oh boy, get out of town. Yeah, and learn something in the process. Pshaw. At any rate, fun stuff. Okay? Now, here's the thing. The Raiders need to get this right, okay? And stop playing games with us. Because, look, it says, and Mundo Rager, I agree, he says, I think it's time for the Pro Bowl to get shaken up again, the AFC, NFC. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Now, what I'm saying here has to do with the Rams and the Saints issue, and I'm putting out something that is not talked about, But here's why I believe the league wanted that pass interference call to not happen. I'm repeating, okay? Here's why I believe the NFL wanted that no call to happen. Because the NFL, I believe, wants the Rams to be where they are in the Super Bowl. Why? For the same reason that Jerry Jones spearheaded and pushed for the Rams to relocate. And in so doing, I think ESPN, I think Seth Wickersham had the guy he wrote it with, had a great explanation of how the Raiders' move came about. But in that article, Jerry Jones was saying, hey, look, I increased your franchise value by $930 million. Think about how much the Rams' franchise value will be increased, how much the demand for their merchandise will be increased if they win the Super Bowl. Think about how much it's already increased by them being at the Super Bowl, and yet here comes the new stadium in 2020, right? I believe this was engineered. As much as the NFL can make it engineered, I believe that's exactly what happened. Now, the question is, how do you prove that? Well, you basically have to go over their entire season and say, hey, look, how many times in different Rams games were there no calls, or calls against the opponent that should not have been? Okay? And then add that up and then say, and what you have to do, it would take some extensive research, is you would have to establish a benchmark. In other words, you would have to analyze all the NFL games, or at least a representative sample that's large enough to really give you a good, robust outcome, and say, all right, here is a benchmark of plays where there were either calls that should not have been made or no calls that should have been made. And then compare the Rams games versus that. If they come out more, there's something there, okay? That's what you have to look at. Because all of this timing, it just seems too, for me, it seems a little too perfect. Ooh, the Rams are going to the Super Bowl. Ooh, the Rams are building this most expensive ever stadium in Inglewood, which is gonna be kick, okay? I have nothing. I mean, I have nothing but admiration for what Stan Kroenke has done. Nothing. I don't like what St. Louis had to go through to make it happen. But if you are a fan of stadiums and stadium development, you have to salute and take your hats off and look at it as something done right. And you have to look at what they're doing in Inglewood, and then look at Las Vegas Stadium and say, okay, where do they match up, right? What's happening? All right? That's only fair. It's only logical. So I'm gonna answer your other questions. I think Rob Iman says, if the Raiders can't find a place to play on a Raider guy, the league may force the Raiders to play at Levi Stadium for 2 years. I think myself, again, the best option is the Coliseum. Now, my question, I can't see Raider fans responding to the team playing at Levi. It's like playing in enemy territory because the team did something that you as an Oakland Raiders fan don't like, and yet it's in your backyard. That doesn't ring, okay? And not only that, I want to go a step further. Even if it is the NFL, I can't see the Santa Clara County managers, the commissioners, coddling to that, allowing that. Why? Because you have a mayor across the bay, and you have politicians around you in the Bay Area and California who are saying, hey, why are you allowing them to do that when one of our own, Oakland Mayor Louis Schaaf, is in the middle of a lawsuit against them? You see what I'm getting at? That's why I say, you know what? I don't think Levi is the slam dunk that other people think, okay? John Collins says, can the NFL force Raiders to make a decision by a certain deadline date of where they're going to play next year? I don't see how for the NFL to do that. It would have to be the staff doing that, okay? And I haven't seen. I mean, look, I haven't seen the NFL staff take that kind of approach before. Well, you know. However, I will say this: the difference in years past versus now is that the Raiders, the one thing we all knew is that even if the Raiders didn't have a lease signed, we knew the Raiders are going to stay at the Coliseum or play there, right? Although I would say the year before this time, there was still some uncertainty even in that case. In fact, there's arguably someone could chime in and say, what do you mean, Zinni? Has been uncertainty for the past 3 years? And I would say, yeah, you're right. I don't see how the league would structurally force the Raiders to make a decision. The way it would work is what forces the Raiders to make a decision is which facility is available. It's all right. So we know let me put it this way. We know the Coliseum is available right now. Now I know this. I know that the JPA will say to the Raiders by February 20th, you know what? We need a time certain from you, or we are going to instruct Anschutz Entertainment Group, AEG, which manages the Coliseum, to start booking events for the time slots that normally are taken up by the Raiders at this point for the fall, okay? Right now, AEG Coliseum is with respect to the Raiders in a kind of a holding pattern. They're all waiting for the Raiders. The Raiders have not called. It has been 6 weeks since there has been 6 weeks since a meaningful conversation has taken place between the Joint Powers Authority and the Oakland Raiders. It has been 6 weeks to last week. So now we're going into 7 weeks. All right? 6 weeks until Monday. 6 weeks until Monday. That was a 6 weeks. So now at the end of this week, it'll be 7 weeks. 7 weeks. All right? So, Unknown Ray Guy says, and I'm only saying this because I look at what's going on now. They know what we're playing. Corey Brown says, a temporary venue doesn't require a league vote like a permanent one. No, it doesn't. Rob Iman says, JPA should let the Raiders play at the Coliseum, but make Mark Davis sting a bit in terms of higher rent. Rob, that's a great point, but that ship sailed. The whole idea of the original proposal was to make the Raiders pay. First, there were people who wanted the Raiders to pay $10 million a year, okay? Cooler heads prevailed, and it got lowered to $7.5 million, and right now, the way the thing is looking, it could be lowered to $5.5 million. But the idea that the Raiders should be allowed to sting, that idea came 3 years ago, okay? And then it just, once the lawsuit, once the relocation was approved, remember the idea was, hey, look, kick them out now. That was 2017, and then cooler heads prevailed, and that didn't happen. So it's been a dance. And during the timeline where that dance has occurred, okay, what's happened is that we went from $10 million, they want to charge you $10 million, make them take 10, right? Then 10 got lowered, then 10 at one point was there, and then someone said, make it even higher. Then it got lowered to 8, and then it got lowered to 7.5 million, and somebody else said, why lowered, on the board? I'm talking about how the board was thinking about this with the JPA. Why raise it at all? And then it got pegged at 7.5 million, and then Scott McKibben came up with this idea of, hey, let's kind of give them some money back if we win the lawsuit, because we'll have extra money, and then give them some money back. Or if they win the lawsuit, they still get some money back, right? And then he's got another variation of that one. So I don't know. But right now, I don't know which one the Raiders have chosen. I think, frankly speaking, for the Raiders to put themselves through this, to put their season ticket holders through this, is awful. If you're a season ticket holder, your patience is being tested in a number of ways. You have a team that is trying to leave Oakland. They really didn't need to leave Oakland. You now find out through me that there were stadium drawings out there that were presented by the Raiders to Coliseum Authority head and to the assistant city manager, or city administrator for the city of Oakland, Claudia Capio at the time, regarding what kind of Coliseum the Raiders wanted to see at the Coliseum, right kind of stadium the Raiders wanted to see at the Coliseum, all right? Which means the Raiders had a plan to keep the team in Oakland and build the stadium, but then they made it sound like there was no plan whatsoever, when in point of fact there was a plan. Excuse me? All right? That's wrong. The question is, did the NFL owners, did other NFL owners know about these drawings? Okay? So, hey, Bob Klein, how you doing? And so, Pedro says, so if nothing is said, where will they play? The Coliseum is the default place they play. Yes. Rumor about San Francisco and London about rumors. You're going to forget about, look, San Francisco Giants, that's not happening. Ain't happening, particularly in this political season. Let me tell you what's going on, folks. You have California Senator Kamala Harris running for president. Where's she based out of? Well, until she moved to LA, San Francisco. Where's her family? San Francisco. I happen to know a number of them. Nancy Pelosi, most powerful person, not the president, San Francisco. Okay? Then, of course, there's Dianne Feinstein. My point is, you have the major drivers of politics in the United States reside in the Bay Area. You realize that? You realize that? If the NFL comes up right now and starts screwing things up, there could be a talk of trying to nationalize the National Football League. You heard it. You heard it here first, okay? That's how much politics has changed because of voting. It's the importance of voting, right? Because voting in the midterm elections got us a Democratic majority in the House. It got the return of Nancy Pelosi, and she's been punking Donald Trump left and right. And then Kamala Harris says, you know what? Hey, I'll run for president. And she does a boffo job, as Rob Iman will tell you. And she's suddenly the it factor in the presidential race. All of that impacts what the NFL does, and don't think for a moment it does not. Don't think for a moment it does not. All right? Bob Klein says, Chiefs are going to win the Western Conference again and again and again. Rob Iman says, Oracle Park is a non-starter. Unknown Raider guy says, until Tyreek Hill leaves. Unknown Raider guy says, I'm going to say this again. We might all have our own opinions about the move, but I think if a team leaves a city, the city should be awarded a brand new team city and fandom like the Packers. Yeah, and it's that very dynamic, Unknown Raider guy, that could very well drive, okay? That could very well drive the future nationalization of the National Football League. You know, you wouldn't have this, it would be an entirely different situation. I mean, think about the NFL as if it were, you know, public-private partnership like airports, right? Pretty exciting. You would have cities that would have their stadiums, that would have their funding, have their entertainment. You wouldn't have this willy-nilly thing. You wouldn't have this problem with the anthem. You would have all this stuff, okay? You could just simply enjoy football. It's kind of cool, you know? Kind of cool. Rob Iman says, two realistic options of the Coliseum or Levi's. Now, you know, if you're going to say to me, hey, Zinni, that's socialist, my response to you is, isn't most of America? Just saying, okay? Just saying, okay? Just saying, all right? So, all right. Hey, everybody, is this screen a little blurry for you? If I'm just going to make a little adjustment here, give me 1 second. Let's see if, okay, I'm live back now. Let's see if that does anything. And, didn't help much, but whatever. The show must go on. Fine. All right. Let's see. How's the screen? How's the screen? Like that. Bad refs that were in the playoffs. Oh, cool. Rob Iman says Gavin Newsom is also a rising star of the Democratic Party. Yeah. He's governor. My friend's good. My friend's governor. Jason Weeks, how you doing? Yeah, Gavin's gov, all right? And, yeah, I see that it's fuzzy. This is what I'm going to do, folks. Oh, now it's clear. Okay. Now it's clear. Ta-da! Woo! All right. Funny stuff, all right? Now, let's get to some Super Bowl stuff. All right, told you tomorrow I'm going to a party. And, yeah, I am. I'm going, it's Varner, it's hosted by my friend, longtime friend since I was 22 and he was 18, Mike Silver, and Jay Glazer, Fox Sports Jay Glazer, that's right, Fox Sports Jay Glazer, and it is tomorrow night. I will be there, and starts from 9 o'clock until 2 Eastern, all right, and yeah, it's called the Vault Super Bowl Kickoff VIP Party. That's what I'm invited to, okay? Vault is a Vault Media Group Super Bowl Kickoff Party, and it's hosted by, like I said, Jay Glazer, Mike Silver, who else? Vault Event Media, right? And there's actually, you know what? There's no news about the party. I'll have to change that. I'll have to make a separate vlog so that I can talk about it. But, yeah, Vault Media Group is holding a Super Bowl party. Vault Media Group Super Bowl party, okay? So, at any rate, it promises to be a ton of fun. What I'm trying to find is, oh, here, wait a minute. I've got my ATL. Wait a minute. You know what? Hey, I think this is a press release they sent me. You mean I just idiotically missed it? I did. Okay, here we are. It's called the Best Kickoff Party of the Super Bowl, and it's back. On behalf of Vault Media Group and Ovation Magazine, we are happy to confirm your VIP credential for the annual Super Bowl Kickoff Party hosted by Fox Sports' Jay Glazer and Carissa Thompson, NFL Network's Mike Silver, and ESPN's Jeff Darlington. How can I forget Jeff? January 30th, 2019. Jeff's a great guy. And so they've had tremendous celebrity feedback and know it'd be a fantastic event in true Super Bowl fashion. And it says red carpet arrivals from 9 o'clock to 11. And, yeah, so, all this other stuff is, you know, stuff that I need to, note for myself, okay? We're looking forward to you seeing you Wednesday night. Okay, cool. There it is, okay, folks. So I don't know where the celebrities are going to attend, but having been to one of Mike's parties in the past, specifically, when it was at Henry's in Berkeley during Super Bowl 50, I can tell you there are going to be a lot of, well, NFL Network celebrities. Jared Goff was the last one I attended, so I don't expect to see him because I would believe that he's preparing for the game, right? It's going to be hoot. I say all that to say this. Tune in 6 o'clock on the West Coast, 9 o'clock on the East, because I'm going to live stream the red carpet, okay? I'm going to live stream the red carpet, all right? So with my smartphone, so tune in there. Now, right now, it is 12:30, and I'm going to go to sleep unless, wait a minute. Oh, hey, Automated Guy, my condolences on the funeral, by the way. And yeah, how many of you, how many of you are affected by this polar vortex, by the way? And because Corey Brown says, be safe, everyone. Yeah, if you are anywhere where this is a problem, you know, don't hesitate to call emergency or anything else, okay? And that's horrible stuff, okay? Now, oh, somebody else had a question. When is Mark Davis supposed to make his decision? Now, I personally don't expect Davis to make his decision until the NFL annual meeting or after that. The NFL annual meeting is in late March, okay? So I don't expect him, yeah, I don't expect that to happen until then. That tends to be the Raiders' habit, all right? So that's what I'm looking at. Can everybody see now? Can you see? Does anybody have a last rights question before I close the live stream? Let's see, 45 minutes. Maybe I can go 50. Yeah. I'll cut it off unless somebody has something burning they have to get off their chest regarding a statement or question they want a response to. I know some of you, you know what? There was one thing, that number you brought to my attention, and that was, I think Jason Cole had an article about the Raiders signing a type of responsibility, agreement, right? And John Akala says, you think we'll know where the Raiders are playing next year by February 20th? No, I don't think so at all. No. The Raiders love it when you're waiting for them. It's just something, it's like, oh, they're waiting for me. Oh, it's kind of funny. But no, I don't think so at all. Here's the thing. As far as this whole deal, basically, as I've said before, the Raiders can and will string this out. All right, they can and will string it out. They should close it to everybody's benefit, but they don't like doing that. They haven't done it before. I don't see that they're going to do that this time. Or I just don't see that. Now, Jason Cole said that he was told, he doesn't have the document, but he was told, he's now with Fansided. He's no longer with Bleacher Report, all right? And yeah, but he says basically that polar vortex, 51 below in Chicago. Hey, I was in Chicago when it's 67 degrees below zero. That was 1974. But I digress. Jason says that the Raiders signed a document that basically sticks them with the legal fees and damages in a lawsuit. But here's my take on that. A judge, hey, Juan Ramirez, how you doing? Hey, Juan, I'm sticking around for 10 more minutes and then I was going to sign off. But look, the judge in this case, or any case, has the final say. You can't just simply, say to the judge, oh, I've got this agreement with the NFL and you have to honor it. The judge is going to laugh at you. The jury's going to laugh at you. And the judge and jury don't care that you have an agreement that basically sticks, that the NFL has an agreement that sticks the damages to the Raiders. Okay? No. The judge and jury determine the flow of damages. No one gives a flying big what about some contract. I mean, it's nice, who shot who, gossip, right? And not even that, it isn't even nice. It kind of plays on the fact that these are things that you don't know. But have you ever been in a court where you or someone you watched had a document that reassigned responsibility and the judge followed that document? No. Okay? Yeah, never negative 67 degrees below zero. No. No. No one has ever been in that situation. So what? So they signed the indemnification papers. It means nothing. From the judge's point of view, the judge says to the NFL, no, NFL, you pay. Okay? And God forbid, don't defy the judge. All right? If the judge says you pay, you pay. That's it. Because to turn around, all right? Corey says, would the Super Bowl be postponed for where the event like this were forecast on the same day? No. 18 years ago, I was at the Atlanta Super Bowl here, and the reason why, I know people said, why doesn't it come back? And some people said, well, Ray Lewis. Folks, the reason why the Atlanta has not hosted the Super Bowl has zero to do with anything Ray Lewis was involved in at all. It has everything to do with the fact that it was as cold as the Dickens here. It was 8 degrees. I was here. It was my first Super Bowl. And you were slipping and sliding all over the place. You couldn't get anywhere. People had to, you couldn't fly into the airport. You had to go into Macon, Georgia, rent a car and drive up. We were here early, okay? It was nasty. But the problem was the NFL commissioners, the NFL owners were at the commissioners' party. It took them and me as an attendee and my friend Randy Gordon 3 hours to get out of the commissioners' party after it was over. We were waiting for transportation for 3 hours in the cold, trying to find shelter and building all that. It was bad. The owners were pissed off, okay? The owners were pissed off. And that is why Atlanta never got a shot at the Super Bowl again. There were accidents after accidents after accidents because of the weather. There were lawsuits left and right. It took a long time for Atlanta to recover from that disaster of an occurrence. The NFL was under the impression that it was going to be 72 degrees outside. That didn't happen. Nope. That's why. But yeah, the game went on. And the Rams won. So Pedro says, imagine if the AFC Championship game Chiefs Pats were this Sunday instead. Ice Bowl. Yeah. We fun. Fun ball. A No Raider guy says, it's about whatever you can prove, talking about the NFL lawsuit, or the lawsuit against the NFL and the Raiders. It's about whatever you can prove and convince the jury. That's how gold diggers get over. It's funny, but it's the truth. Yeah, he's right. It's about whatever you convince the jury, and that's it. Okay. Then the judge, and then the judge is not gonna say, oh, hey, by the way, there's this document. Who cares? Nobody cares. Okay. Now, where would the document be relevant? It would be relevant between the NFL and the Raiders if the NFL turned around and said, okay, Raiders, we're suing you. That would be awful. Why? Because the NFL helped engineer the whole thing. All right? So here you have the NFL helping the Raiders, in the NFL in the form of Eric Grubman and Jerry Jones helping the Raiders engineer this relocation, and the St. Louis Rams, or now the LA Rams, right? And they turn around and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, the judge and jury stuck the damages on us, but we're not going to pay. You're going to pay. But the Rams and the Raiders would have standing to say, hey, wait a minute, you were in this with us. We don't care what we signed. They said, you pay, don't come after us, or we're going to sue you. That would be a huge mess. And that's the climate out there. That's what's set up, okay? That's what's set up. That is what you're looking at. All right? You know? That's the situation right there. That's the situation. So for those of you who just joined me and didn't hear the original news, the NFL will not be able to play a full 2020 season in Las Vegas Stadium, all right? Rob Iman says the game is indoors. It will not be affected by the weather. That's not it, though. It's not that. It's leaving. You have to remember, it's not the game. It's leaving. It's getting in and getting out, okay? It's getting in and getting out. And if you have owners that can't get out effectively, guess what? You're not going to see your Super Bowl a while. Okay? That's where it is. John Acala says, I hope the JPA tells the Raiders we need an answer by February 20th and we're not going to play here. Actually, John, that message is coming next week. All right? But they're not going to say, yeah, that's coming. That's coming. Just prior to that's prior to the next JPA meeting. That's coming. All right. So there you go. All right. Okay. So I also want to thank everybody for chiming in. You know, is anyone, by the way, is anyone here watching this? Are you in Atlanta? Are you going to any Super Bowl festivities or events? I've got the Vault Media party I told you about, and then of course I have the Steinberg Super Bowl party that's coming up. All right, I got those two dealies, you know, coming along. So yeah, that's what's happening. What else? Can't think anybody else. Anyone else going once? Any other questions? Going once? Going, how do you say it? It's usually going once, going twice, right? But it's going once, going twice, going 3 times, going a 4th time, going a 5th time, going a 6th time. Should we count or try for 10? Oh, Mike Lowry. Mike, you gotta, hey, Mike, I gotta send you an email about the Steinberg party. Okay? So I gotta make sure you get your invite. Just Through Your Coon says, what kind of indemnifications will this impose on really anything? What do you mean? Unknown Ray Guy says the Midwest and East Coast should be free electric gas for this weather. Amen to that. Just Through Your Coons, I have no idea what you're saying. What kind of indemnifications will this impose on really anything? Explain what this means. We talked about a lot of stuff, so I need you to be succinct and explicit and specific regarding what you are talking about, because I got no idea, my friend. My little raccoon friend. I don't know. What are you saying? What are you saying? All right. Mike Lowry, I got your, hey, Mike, send me an email, zenny@zenny62.com. Just so I make sure, just say, hey, send me the info. Do that right now if you're listening. Hope you are. Then I can take care of that little bit of house cleaning tonight, okay? So, is there anybody else with Zenny62 that's in Atlanta? I know Jamal Mills is around, right? Or are you? Are you listening? Jamal Mills. Jamal, I'll have to email him. See what's happening with him. I got to be careful with my invites too. I got a limited number. Small. Okay. So I got Lowry. I got Raisin. Yeah, 3. Yeah. Okay. So all right, there. All right. Unknown Raider Guy says, "What's the weather in the Midwest this week?" Cold. It's negative 51. That's with the wind chill in Chicago. Okay. It's frigid, man, all over. Not just the Midwest, but the upper eastern seaboard, right? Or the eastern seaboard, right? Ugh, bad stuff. Is that sleet storm? You're asking me this question, and you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say weather map, weather map. All right. Polar vortex. Let me see if I can get images. All right, take a look at this. These are the top stories. I'll show you this. I'll show you this. Okay. Here it is. This will answer your question. Take a look. This will answer your question. Bam. Look at that. Wind chill alerts. See that? So that's what it looks like. You've got, all right? That's what it looks like. The polar vortex triggering coldest Arctic outbreak in at least 2 decades is what it says, okay? If your city has, Unknown Ray Guy says, if your city has a sleet storm because of the weather, stay at home, don't drive. Yeah, folks, look, you know what? Stay at home. Watch old Zenny62 live streams. Find the one, my guests like Randy Sutton, or, you know, I'm looking forward to, hopefully I get this passing and see the NFL's first female coach, right? Jim Walter. Look at that one with her. That was fun because she was drinking wine. Or look at my stuff from, you know, there's a lot of things to look at. Or look at the video with Richard Hike that was fun stuff last weekend. He had 2. He had the Oakland A's Fan Fest, and then he had Kamala Harris, right? So there's a lot to watch, you know? All right. Lots to watch. Mike Lowry said, we did an NBA All-Star game when it was in Brooklyn a couple years ago. It was 7 degrees the whole weekend. That was brutal. Black ice is the worst, I think. Yeah, I think so too. Raccoon says, sorry, I just came in on the subject of the lawsuit. What would anything impose on the move? You mean what would stop it? Well, a court-ordered injunction filed for cause that's accepted by a judge. Okay, that would stop it. That would stop it. All right. Yeah, that would stop it. That's theoretical, though. Could that actually happen in practice? You know, that I would need to ask a seasoned lawyer about. I mean, I know certain things, but I'm not comfortable in my knowledge enough to say, boom, yeah, okay, I'll find out. I know who to call, and I'll do that. All right, folks, signing off. Remember, tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, the Vault Media Group Super Bowl party live stream, red carpet, Zenny 62.